Hi, everybody, and welcome to our first module. We're going to be getting started on Module 1 this week, and I wanted to offer a bit of a video walkthrough for you. So if you'll follow along with me, go ahead and click on the content area of the menu bar, and then scroll down and click on Module 1, Analyzing Poetry, Part 1. And this is where we're going to begin our work this week. So you'll notice on this page, there's first a module overview. Go ahead and click on that link. And in this module overview, you're going to get an introduction to what we'll be doing in this course. So this is an intermediate English composition course, which means that you will have taken some previous English courses. Maybe you've been out of school for a while, and that's okay. I give lots of opportunities to work through your skill set and lots of feedback and places where you can revise your work. So there are great opportunities for you to progress along in this class, even if you may have been out of school for a while. So don't be nervous. We'll go ahead and get through this together. And you can, of course, send me questions at any time throughout the course. So this course is really about amplifying our writing through reading. So we're going to be doing a lot of reading. We're going to be thinking a lot about our critical thinking skills. We're going to read critically. And these are some things you've probably engaged with in past classes. So you'll have had some experience, although you may be a little rusty. So critical reading means that there are no easy answers, right? We're going to be interpreting poetry and prose, fiction and nonfiction in a variety of ways. And so each of our discussions will be centered around an opportunity for you to give your perspective on something that we've read. And if you click through all the posts, including the ones that I post, you'll get all the different perspectives of just the one piece that we'll read during a particular time. So for example, if we read The Garden of Delight, you'll notice, maybe 20, 25 different interpretations of the poem. It'll give you an opportunity to think about some things that you haven't maybe thought of yourself. And so it's a great way to see multiple perspectives on a reading. And one thing that I like to make sure students know about is that sometimes it can be hard to understand what's happening in a poem or a piece of prose or an article. And I encourage you to Google it to find out what the various perspectives are. And that's going to help with your reading comprehension. This is something that I do whenever I'm taking a class. So if there's an assigned reading, I Google it and I make sure I read through all the various commentary on the poem or prose or article or whatever we're covering so that I can get some multiple ideas before making my own post or creating my own post. Because oftentimes I'll miss things that other people have brought up and in their reading of the material. So this is a great way to just think about the material more deeply and really apply and analyze the information that you're learning about. So if you scroll down a little further, you'll see there are some competencies. And these are the competencies that are addressed in this module. You'll see there's intellectual skills, specialized knowledge, applied and collaborative skills, professional practice. And you can take a look through those as we make it through this first week, just to see the different kinds of things that you're going to be learning in Module 1 and how to apply those things. So go ahead and click the next button, that arrow down there at the bottom. There's also one at the top. And that'll take you to the module activities. This is a very important link, and it's present in every module. It's here that you're going to find our course textbook and our reading assignments. There will be links to the textbook as well as outside links to things that we'll be reading on the internet. So make sure that before you complete the homework, you have read through all of the materials that are listed under this module activity link. I know in the past, sometimes students have been confused about where to find the information that we're talking about when we compose our discussions and assignments. And it's always under this module activity link that you're going to find that information. So if you scroll a little further down, you'll also see some other resources like a 10-step essay organizer, how to write thesis statements, and those are things you're going to want to click on also to just give you a better overall view of how to put these things together as we progress through the class. And then if you scroll down a little further, you'll see the rubrics that you will be evaluated on. And you can click through those rubrics at your leisure, and you'll be using those as a checklist to make sure that you've completed everything before you post a discussion or an assignment. And then, of course, at the end, there are the module outcomes. And this is really telling you how specific activities that we're doing relate to what the outcomes of the course are. So all of these things relate together. And the important thing to know about the course is that each module builds on the next activities we're going to do. So it's important that you stay on top of everything and keep your assignments coming in on the scheduled due dates, unless there's an emergency, of course, because each module will build on the next module. So it might be hard to complete some of the assignments in the next module if you haven't kept up with things in the previous module. So go ahead and click on that next button. And that takes you to our first discussion on class norms. So in this discussion, you're going to create and post a video introduction of yourself. And this is a great way to get to know your classmates. I posted a video introduction of myself under the course orientation information, and you can look at that to find out a little bit about me. And I'm looking forward to finding out a little bit about you. And so to prepare for the discussion, you're going to think about a classroom situation where the rules were of benefit to some people, but not all people or the group of or community. And so that will be part of your post, as well as where you live, what you hope to get out of the class, and then your needs for learning spaces. For example, do you need a quiet learning space? Do you like to play music? And that kind of thing. Maybe you like to prefer to work at the library, or you like to close the door to your bedroom. And those are just some things that you'll be discussing here in this first discussion called class norms. Now, some weeks we'll have one discussion and other weeks we'll have two, and even some weeks we won't have any and it'll be all assignment based. But all of our discussions are due on Wednesdays, and your reply to your classmates are always due on Sundays. So that stays the same throughout the course. So go ahead and click on that next button again, and you'll see an assignment on making references. And we're going to begin thinking about the difference between open and closed questions here. So if you click on that link, you can read the article about the difference between open and closed questions. And this is something that we're going to be talking about throughout the entire semester. So you'll have lots of opportunities to practice this skill. And so you'll notice that there are going to be 3 poems that you will read: Nation of Domination, Moonshine, and Shelter Island. And you're going to annotate those poems. And there's some information under the module activity section on how to annotate. You'll be uploading those annotations, right? So I can see what you're doing, and you can use either, you can do it directly in your book and take photos and upload those photos, or you can do it like in a Word document and just, make notes, or you could use some kind of online annotating tool, and there's a link to that in the module activities section. So there are lots of different ways to make those annotations. So one thing I do want to point out is a lot of your assignments will say to prepare for this assignment, and that'll tell you what to do to get ready. And then it'll say to submit. So those are 2 different things. The preparation part of the thing you do to get ready to compose the assignment, and then the list of things you'll submit is under a different section in most cases. You may find that those things are the same sometimes, but make sure to look for the to prepare and then to submit. And that will help you know or to distinguish between what you need to actually give to me or your classmates and what you're just doing on your own in order to get ready. So this is usually a really exciting assignment to do, and it gets us rolling on some interesting work. You'll find, if you hit the next button, that there's a Module 1 quiz. And so to prepare for the quiz, you're going to read and annotate the chapters in your course text, and that's not something that you would turn in. That's just to prepare you for the quiz. And then you'll be able to take the quiz on these topics. And that is how the quiz is set up, and you'll see when that's due if you scroll down a little further, and that it's worth 10 points. And then you'll see that we have a poem analysis. So this is our discussion 2 for Module 1. And for this poem analysis, we'll be covering The Garden of Delight by Lucille Clifton. And you can click on the link and read the poem. And then you can also review the basic tips on how to read a poem. And then you'll be discussing the poem. And I'll, of course, post my own interpretation of the poem and maybe highlight some things that you may not have thought of. I try to take a look at some of the works in maybe a different point of view to bring out some ideas that maybe aren't the most common ideas. So you'll notice that it says, again, to prepare for the discussion, and then what your discussion will include. So your discussion will include 2 open-ended questions, a thesis sentence about the main message, and then you're going to be briefly explaining 3 pieces of textual evidence or quotes that best support that main message that you've come up with. And of course, you can include anything else that you found interesting about the poem. So you'll post that on Wednesday, and your response to your classmates will be due by Sunday. And this is really a pretty engaging conversation. The more threads that you can look at, the more initial posts that you can look at, the more interesting it will be, because you'll get multiple perspectives on these topics. And so then the next thing that you should take a look at is the final project document. And there's nothing due for the final project during this week 1, but you can go to Module 2 to see the full instructions of that final project. And the final project instructions are listed in various modules throughout the course, just to remind you to stay on topic. But essentially, you will be picking a book to analyze. And so for our preparation, you should begin thinking about a book that you would like to analyze. So during our first module, during this first week, all you need to do really is read through the PDF document on what the final project is about and select the book that you want to read. And there's a list of different genres and different things. You can pick poetry or memoirs. There's all sorts of things. So it's important to read through the document. And you'll also notice that you have different options for the final project. So this will become more clear as we go through the class. You may be a little confused at first, but I'll do a final project walkthrough video also as we get further along in the course, so that you know exactly what you should be working on at each point, and so that you don't get lost or confused. So that pretty much wraps up what we will be doing for our first module. I look forward to getting started with you, and I can't wait to jump in and read through your posts. Have a great week.